Public Works is hereby called to order. I would like to thank all the guests present here for giving time in this hearing. At this point, let me acknowledge the presence of Senator Soto and Senator Lacson. With 3 members, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. The public hearing was called to discuss the provisions of the following Senate bills. Senate Bill number 995, an act regulating placement and content of billboards, including support structures, filed by Senator Win Gatchalian. Senate Bill number 114, an act abolishing the road board created by virtue of Republic Act number 8794 and transferring its powers and functions to the Department of Public Works and Highways into the Department of Transportation and Communications, amending for the purpose of Republic Act number 8794 filed by Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel the second, the third. The Senate Bill number 779, an act converting all roads leading to tourist destinations and ports as national roads, filed by Senator Chis Escudero. Senate Bill number 569, an act renumbering all existing district engineering offices of the Department of Public Works and Highways to conform the correspond with the numbering of the legislative districts throughout the country, filed by Senator Antonio Trillanes. This time I would like to ask the Committee Secretary to acknowledge our guests.
Good morning. I would like to acknowledge the following guests. From the Department of Public Works and Highways, Undersecretary Emil Sadain, Attorney Johnson V. Domingo, Project Director, Building Management Cluster, Project Manager Jose Aguinaldo, Project Manager, National Building Code Development Office, Engineer Milagros Manalaysay, Engineer 5, Programming Division Planning Service, Engineer Edwin M. Fortes, Engineer 5, Statistics Division Planning Service, Director Constante Llanes, Planning, and Engineer Director and Executive Director Luisito Clavano from Road Board. From the Department of Transportation, Director Marlo Destura. From the Department of Tourism, Assistant Secretary Reynaldo Ching, Mr. Ronnie Balbieran, Ms. Valie Congzon, Supervising Tourism Operations Officer, DOT, Attorney Shangri-La Quezon, Manager, Legal Services, Tourism Infrastructure Enterprise Zone Authority, or TIEZA, Attorney Guillermo Acido, Chief Operating Officer, TIEZA, and Director Shalimar Tamano. From the Metropolitan Development Authority, or MMDA, we have Mr. Jose Reynaldo Lunas. From the Philippine Association of National Advertisers, or PANA, Mr. Roberto Simborio, Executive Director. From Outdoor Advertising Association of the Philippines, Mr. Rodrigo Guevara, President. Attorney Jill Te, Legal Counsel. Attorney Ina Zamora, Legal Counsel. And Attorney Lorna Kapunan, Corporate Secretary. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Secretary. Let's now proceed to the question or resource person. Let's tackle first the Senate Bill 995, filed by Senator Gatchalian. Unahin natin yung mga kasama ko magtanong. Tira-tira na lang sa akin bago magtanong.
Mr. Chairman, we are here to listen, so we leave it up to the chair.
Okay, do you have any question, Senator Lacson?
For the billboard, Mr. Chairman?
Oh, billboards, yes.
I have, Mr. Chairman, I have at least a couple of questions. At present, who regulates the placement of billboards? MMDA. in Metro Manila, for example, is it MMDA or DPWH? Or which agency?
Mr. Chairman, Your Honors, in behalf of DPWH sa family, unang-una pinapabot po namin pagbati sa ating Mr. Chairman for winning in the last fight and isa pong karangalan sa ating bansa. At yung tagumpay po is also ang tagumpay ng buong sabay ng Pilipino. Mr. Chairman, Your Honor po, with the po doon sa SBN 995, the first query po at to one regulating the billboard installations, I would like to refer, Mr. Chair, to Attorney Domingo, who is head of authority to discuss on this.
Hindi pa to in reference to 995 at present?
Yes, sir.
Under present setup, sino nag-regulate?
Sir, the DPWH regulates the
Placement.
billboards, sir. With the,
No, there are two aspects, placement at saka yung content.
No, sir, we don't regulate the content.
Kaya nga tinatanong ko,
It's only
yung sa inyo placement lang
Yes, and the structure.
and the structure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, with the memorandum of agreement between the MMDA and the DPWH, the MMDA also give clearances for the construction of the within Metro Manila. Because the building officials, which is under the secretary, who is impliedly the national building official under the law, PD 1096, they are the one who are giving the permit for construction.
So to any other resource person, sino yung nagre-regulate naman ng content ng billboards? Yung laman ng billboards?
So it is at Standard Council who regulates all material content.
And is there any scientific study involved in either replacement or the content, like sa health, yung effect sa health, sa pollution, etc., etc.? Meron bang scientific study involved o wido-wido?
Sir, with the placement, there is a regulation if it's near a transmission line, meron po tayong doon. Meron po tayong at least minimum requirement setback. So, isa yun. Then yung mga dapat hindi siya nakakaharang sa mga bintana, yun din sa wall sign din siya. May mga restrictions po kami ginawa. Meron po kaming ARR at saka IRR. Nung nagpalabas po si President Madam Gloria, kasi nagkaroon po ng Typhoon Millennium po, maraming nagbagsakan. That's the time na naggawa po ang DPWH ng mga regulation po, sir.
So under your regulatory powers, meron bang mga penalties, fines involved?
Yes, sir. Because this is already part of the IRR of the National Building Code, and the National Building Code prescribe of penalties and charges. And violation of the PD 1096 is a criminal action.
Okay, let's talk of EDSA na lang muna. Ano? Ilan na yung violations na na-spot ninyo? Ilan na yung napuntahan ninyo? Meron ba kayong data dyan na dala?
Sir, we will give you, sir, for next day na lang, sir. Actually, sir, noong panahon na nagkaroon po kami ng baklas billboard, marami na po kaming nabaklas along EDSA together with the MMDA, especially yung mga corroded kasi meron po kaming annual inspection na ginagawa at saka yung mga na-construct na hindi tumutupad sa setback requirement.
Yeah, that's the counteraction. Pero yung sabi nyo nga, meron namang mga na-involve dito, di ba? Mga fines. May na-generate pa kayo revenues from fines imposed on those who violated yung nahuli ninyo. And give us the record.
Ang na po, sir, ang mandated po na dyan is the building official na po ang magkuhan.
Ng local government
Yes, sir.
units.
Sila po kasi nagbibigay ng building permit. So sila po ang
Okay.
magkuhan.
So, yun ang mag-i-impose ng fines. Sila yung tawag dito, mag-implement.
Opo, sir, under PD 1096.
Kayo sa
Policies.
lang. Kasi sabi nyo nga kanina, meron niyang safe distance from transmission lines. Ano? When you talk of transmission lines, are we only talking of the NTC transmission lines o pati yung sa Meralco?
Sir, basta any electric sign, sir. Electric sign.
Sa
Yung
EDSA,
mga
salasalabat
electric
yung,
lines.
sa EDSA makita natin, salasalabat yung transmission lines.
Pero sir,
So, sa mga billboards, hindi. Nasa ilalim na nga mismo ng we can go out there and,
Yes, sir.
and verify ourselves, ano?
Yes, sir.
Makita natin
Meron nga
na-
pong mga report pong gano'n. Sinasabihan namin mga building officials na mag-conduct ng inventory at sinusulatan naman po yung mga may-ari ng mga billboard.
Pero nandun pa rin.
Kaya,
Sino daw yung content? Yung content, yung ad agent and ad council.
Senator, ad standard council for the screen ng content for any advertising materials.
May I, Mr. Chair, on that particular, the MMDA does the MMDA have anything to do with it?
No, sir. Sir, structure po sila.
Sa structure lang.
And,
Because let me place on record, Mr. Chairman, some years ago, many years ago in fact, in the corner of Kalayaan in CP Garcia, C5, on the northeast corner, there was a big ad that had a picture of, I think about 24 cardinals in their robes. And below were something written about an NGO from the Planned Parenthood Federation saying that they are the cause of abortion because they are preventing contraception, something like that. It stood there for a while until I passed through that and I complained. I called MMDA, I do not remember who was in charge, who was MMDA chairman then, but I called. I called him and I told him it was offensive to me, being Catholic, I said. They removed it the following day. MMDA. Apparently, the bishops knew about it, but they couldn't do anything about it. They were shy to complain. So, how did that happen? How can those things happen, Mr. Sigori?
Senator, let me check on the details of this. I'm sure at Standard Council or ad board who previously approved content of any advertising materials have this on record, and I probably we can ask ESC to submit further details for this. But I'm pretty sure that as we speak, all contents of any advertising materials is being screened by ad Standard Council.
Mr. Chairman, with the permission of Senator Soto, ano po ba yung composition ng council? Sino mga members dito? Because this is a council, necessarily may mga members ito. So, pardon our ignorance, kasi ngayon lang kami na-introduce dito sa billboard, so kindly answer.
Ad Standard Council is created by three governing bodies, which is PANA, KVP, and 4As, which is the Association of Advertising Agencies. But in terms of members of the council, it comprises of different representatives from each and every association in the industry, like OEP, PANA, 4As, and the rest. We have, I think, 11 associations in the industry, and each in every association has a representation in the council.
How often do you meet?
The board for
May
the,
regular meeting ito?
yes, Senator. Halos every day, sir, kasi may screening po ng materials every day. And for the board meeting, it's monthly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senator Soto.
Anong mga permit na kinukuha niyo bago niyo ilagay yung mga billboards na yan? Anong mga permit ka requirements para makapaglagay ng malaking mga billboards?
First of all, Sir Chair, before I answer, I'd like to introduce to you our association, which is Outdoor Advertising Association of the Philippines, and I'm the president. We have a member of 120 companies nationwide. We have a chapter in Mindanao, Cebu, and Northern Luzon. So, with your question, Sir Chair, bago po kami magtayo ng billboard, we have to secure first the MMDA clearance, and then the building permit or site permit from the local building official. So basically yun lang po yung requirement na...
About barangay permit?
Yes, barangay permit, yes.
Barangay permit?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yun lang yung mga permit na kailangan niya i-provide para makapagtayo na kayo ng
As of now, sir, yun lang po muna. Ngayon.
Yun pala ang requirement?
Yes, yes. Before you secure a building permit, dadaan muna po sa MMDA for clearance. And then once na may permit na po, that's the time na pwede na kami mag-start ng construction.
Mr. Chair, in addition to that, it's necessary that they secure a locational clearance from the city planning. Kung hindi sila mabibigyan ng locational clearance, hindi sila bibigyan ng building permit. Isa po yun sa mga requirement.
Kasi parang nakikita ko ito parang hiwala eh. Hiwala yung mga permit na requirements. Samantalang pag gumawa tayo ng bahay, pagpatay ng bahay, may building permit, tapos may approval sa barangay, lahat. Dito parang walang pagka may mangyari, pwede maghugas ng kamay ng bawat isa. Magturuan na. No? Yan siguro isang mga nakikita natin problema. Kailangan talaga ma-regulate talaga ng mabuti kung yung para alam kung saan sinong sisihin, sinong mag-regulate ng gusto sa permit, pagdating sa permit yan para yung kung may maitayo man ng mga billboards matibay at saka approve ng local and national.
Mr. Chair, with due respect, may kwan po ako siya tungkol sa mga requirements eh. Ang kwan po natin kasi, ang locational clearance, galing po sa city, munisipyo, meron po silang ordinansa kung saan ka pwede maglagay. Hindi ho bawat lugar pwede lagyan. So kailangan mo nilang, that ordinance, empower the city kung regulates kung saan magtatayo. Kaya kailangan nila kumuha ng locational clearance. Isa po yun sa mga requirement. One of the requirement is mayroon structural analysis. Yung pong computations, may mga kaya niyang mag-resist ng wind load, earthquake, whatever. Kung nakapatong naman siya sa building, additional load po yun, kailangan ho ng certification ng structural engineer.
Nasusupervise niyo pa ba pagka maili na tayo ng ganyan? Sinusupervise niyo o hindi na?
Hindi na po. Kasi po, usually po, Mr. Chair, yung mga professionals na po ang mananagot kung yung kanilang design ay mag-fail under Article 1723 of the Civil Code.
Hindi, kasi kailangan nila i-supervise din yun dahil para masigurado talaga na matibay at pagdating ng panahon hindi magkakaroon ng problema. Yan ang sinisigurado natin eh.
Pagka po nangingi na po sila ng certificate of use, meron pong pumupunta taga-building official, tinitingnan ko kung nasunod yung plano na inapprovean. Kasi may mga minsan, nag-approve ka ng plano, pagdating mo sa site, lumalaki yung structure. Hindi po nasusunod. So, yan.
O yun nga. Kaya kailangan ng i-supervise para kung sumusunod pa sila doon sa naayon sa in-apply nilang permit o...
Yes po, sir. Yan po ang trabaho na ng building official, sir.
Sir Chairman, would you suggest a singular regulatory body na kung saan magko-converge lahat yung para uniform? Kasi uniform may standards ng bawat LGU. Yung sinasabi nyo na yung sa location, yung sa... I would like to think na meron pang multi-hazard, di ba? Kasi baka malagay sa may fault o kaya pwedeng nandun siya naka-expose sa malakas na hangin, di ba? Pero kanya-kanya yung mga LGUs. So there's no singular regulatory body na at least yung standard man lang, sila yung magre-regulate, di ba?
In addition, sir, nakalagay kasi sa PDTN 96, whenever necessary, clearances from other agencies, sir, kasama naman yung book. Meron, sir, nakalagay sa libro. Requirements.
Yeah, from other agencies, pero wala tayong identified na yung an agency that we can pinpoint. Halimbawa, merong disgrasyang malaki, sino yung meron talagang responsibility? So, turo-turuan, sabi nga ni Chairman Pacquiao, di ba? Para maiwasan yung turo-turuan, di ba mas magandang meron tayong singular body that we can run after, so to speak, ano? Or we can ask questions from, di ba? Kesa doon sa tuturo ng DPWH yung LGU, tuturo ng LGU, MMDA, tuturo yung ad standards sa council, medyo magulo. Mahihilo yung mga kababayan natin, maski yung mga government agencies, malilito rin.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sure the resource persons are listening, you know, and the most affected would be the OAAP, the Outdoor Advertising Association of the Philippines. So perhaps we can hear from them on the current situation and what they think of the Gachanian bill, because I think it is very commendable. Will regulate, but if you don't mind, and Senator Lacson, may we hear from Attorney Cabulan and then perhaps Mr. Guevara of the OAA.
Mr. Chairman, I am
Comments on it.
Attorney Lorna Pantao Capunan, Corporate Secretary of the Outdoor Advertisers Association of the Philippines. We in fact have prepared with due deference to the committee, a substitute bill for recommendation. There are two things that must be considered. One is the point of Senator Lacson, which has to do with structural integrity. And the second point is the point of Senator Soto, which has to do with content. The purpose of our position paper and a draft substitute bill will address both issues, sirs. The first issue, structural integrity, we agree with Senator Lacson. In fact, this has been the lament of all the members of the Outdoor Advertisers Association of the Philippines members, because they have been victimized not by regulation but by over-regulation, which leads to corruption. The first point is, who is the government agency designated, Senator Lacson, to implement all of this legislation? And it is not true that there is no regulation. If I may point to three major pieces of legislation, they are the National Building Code, which is in full force and effect, but suffers from implementation. There's the Philippine Electric Code as well, and then there is, for content purposes, there is the Code of Ethics for advertising and promotions, and finally the Philippine Highways Act. So these are all regulations that are in place. Unfortunately, it gets lost in the implementation. First, our first point for the outdoor advertisers industry is a government agency designated by law a regulator cannot assign its functions to another agency. This is the problem with the DPWH. When you have delegated, under the principle of law, that delegated power cannot be further delegated, that is the anomaly situation existing. And that is why we have created, with all due respect to the MMDA and the persons in the MMDA, we have created a monster called the MMDA, which has been a source of over-regulation beyond. They in fact have effectively caused the amendment of legislation through the regulations. They cannot amend through regulations existing legislation. That is the evil of delegated power being delegated. So our position, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, is perhaps that one task force should go back to the government agency regulated by law, which is the Public Works Committee. Secondly, sirs, we must point out that while it is true that local government units must determine issues on zoning and structural integrity, may we point out again, with all due respect to local government units, that this has been a big source of corruption. Because there is no single rule or size implemented by local government units, which is arbitrary. And before they issue the various permits, there is, if I may say, again with all due respect, there are under the table payments being made, which is not good for regulation. And therefore, we suggest, as stated in our position paper and our substitute bill, that the power of local government units not be arbitrary, that there be a uniform local government permit in terms of the cost to the outdoor advertisers, to close the door to corruption at the local level. And as to the content, speaking for the outdoor advertisers, there is a public function. There's a public purpose being served by outdoor advertising. It is not only for commercial purposes. Many think that many think that the outdoor advertisers are only for commercial purposes. In fact, the Outdoor Advertisers Association of the Philippines has signed a MOA with the pertinent agencies to use the billboards for information, for social values formation, and other social messages. So the desire for greed also is moderated by our desire for service through public information.
Thank you, Attorney Lorna. Can you submit to the committee your legislative proposal? Hindi pa substitute bill yan kasi kami yung magsa-substitute bill.
Sorry po, feeling senator kasi.
Para lang legislative proposal siguro. We're interested actually. We're very interested to take a look at your proposal.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and the members of the committee, we would be very honored to submit our substitute proposal to the committee.
Tanungin ko lang, ito pong mga billboard sa EDSA, napakarami. Ayan ba ay sumusunod sa rules and regulation? Lahat ba allowed dyan, na dyan nakalagay lahat ang billboards? Lahat ba, lahat ba yan may permit? Yung pagtayo dyan sa EDSA? Pwede bang sagutin yan?
Pati yung billboard ni Chairman Pacquiao, may permit pa yan.
Pati yung billboard
Actually, in all the billboards along EDSA, we cannot determine kung sino po yung may permit o wala. But to all our members of our association, may mga permit po yun. Pero yung mga non-members, hindi po namin ma-nominate yan o ma-determine kung may permit sila o wala. So, mas marami po kasi yung mga stakeholder na hindi member ng Outdoor Advertising Association of the Philippines. So, hindi po na out of control po kami ron. But I'm sure to you that yung mga member namin, may mga permit po yan kasi hinihingi po namin na prior to joining our association. So, yun lang po.
The best idea siguro dyan, yung suggestion to create a regulatory board for these billboards para ma-supervise lahat ng mga tinatayo dyan. Kasi tingnan ko, may nakatayo doon sa taas ng building, tinayuan ng billboard. Paiba-iba, everywhere. Saan ka titingin, nandun may mga billboards na nakakabit na pwedeng pag humangin, madali lang bumagsak. So, sa tingin ko baka wala pang permit yun dahil mahirap aprubahan yun kung ako ang regulatory board para dyan sa mga billboards na yan, hindi ko pwedeng aprubahan doon sa lugar na yan. So ano masasabi niyo rito?
Actually, Mr. Chair, yung tungkol po sa sinasabi sa mga bagyo, siguro napapansin niyo po, every time na may bagyo, Diro-roll down po namin yan. Prior to entering yung signal number 1, bago i-declare po yun, nakababa na po lahat ng mga billboards along EDSA. Wala na po makita, baka na lang makikita nyo. So, yun po ang aming SOP sa lahat na every time na meron signal, binababa na po namin yan for security purposes.
With due respect, Your Honor, because of the millennium, yung nangyari ng millennium, naglabas po ng memorandum ang DPWH na pagka mayroong signal number 1, lahat mandatory magbababa. So sinasabi ni Sir, pero yun po, utos po ng DPWH.
Law na yun. Law na lang yun yung structure.
What po sir, pag yan po ay may permit, meron po kasing certification ng structural engineers.
Ng local government unit.
Yes sir, yes sir.
Kanya-kanya standard.
Hindi sir, ito pa rin
Based
ang
on the
parameter.
building code.
Yes sir, ito pa rin ang parameter.
Gusto kong malaman, how often na sinusupervise nyo lahat, tinitingnan nyo lahat ng mga nakalagay na billboard dyan, ng mga structure na nakalagay dyan, kung yan ba ay allowed o hindi. Kayo ba nagsusupervise niyan?
Kwan po sir, building official, pero meron kaming ARR na mandated po sila ng may annual inspection. May annual inspection, nagbibigay po sila ng report. Now,
anong report nila?
Na kwan po sir, yung structure analysis, tapos yung compliance dito sa kwan, sa ARR, IRR. Nag-annual inspection po sila.
So, ibig mong sabihin lahat ng mga nakatayo dyan, ng mga billboards, pasado?
Siguro hindi ko naman sigurado po. Pero ang
hindi kasi sabi mo, annually or...
Yes po, hindi ko lang po sir kung lahat nagawa nila, pero nagkakandak po sila.
Kasi palagi ako dumadaan dyan sa EDSA eh.
Nagkakandak po sila ng annual inspection. Nagkakandak po sila. Alam po ng mga taga-kwan yan, OAP. Kasi minsan kasama sila. Di ba sir, nagkakandak ang building official.
MMD, anong tingin nyo dyan sa ano na yan?
Chairman, actually po last mga 4 years ago, 2011-2012, yung nag-conduct po kami ng interagency na inspection with LGU and DPWH, the engineers of LGU, DPWH, and MMDA. Tapos doon po namin na-discover na meron nga pong non-compliant billboards. The action taken upon by MMDA was to file criminal cases against billboard owners who did not comply to the National Building Code.
Did you remove them?
Opo. Actually, meron pong mga pending cases pa, pero meron pong mga ibang non-compliant billboard owners who imposed upon themselves to put down their own billboard when we filed the criminal cases against them.
Yung billboard lang, pero yung structure dyan na natayo, pwede bang ipatanggal yung hindi dapat dyan? Kayo ang MDA talaga ang may talagang power dyan to move all the billboards structures dyan sa along EDSA?
Actually, Senator, yun nga pong sinasabi ni Attorney Kapunan, yung MMDA po as an implementing agency, wala naman po talagang power na mag-implement ng mga rules and regulations regarding that. It's just that DPWH asked our help, LGUs asked our help. Kami po yung nag-a-act para kasi po kami yung may tao pagdating po sa pagbababa ng mga billboards and then equipment. Tapos po nagkaroon nga rin ng power, ng will, political will to sue yung mga kahit marami po talagang kaming na-demanda na mga billboard owners. And likewise, may demanda rin po against MMDA regarding the putting down of some billboards from big billboard companies.
Can you work together and then i-review nyo lahat ng mga mga billboard dyan sa EDSA for the meantime habang binubuo pa natin, ibubuhin natin yung regulatory board ng billboards. Alisin muna natin, tanggalin muna natin yung mga kulang sa mga papeles, walang permit, at saka i-regulate natin mabuti muna. Baka mamaya may madisgrasya pa dyan bago natin actionan. Yes,
Mr. Chairman, if I may be allowed, there is a legal complication to the problem of taking down billboards. Kasi meron pong issue nung what is public property and what is private property. Sa public property po, kagaya ng EDSA highway, government really has the authority under its regulatory functions. The problem with the OOAP is most of the structures are in private property, inside private property.
Okay, let's say in a private property, are they complying the requirements? If they are not complying the requirements, we can.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. If they are non-compliant, they should be penalized. Ang nangyayari po, if I may say so, ang nangyayari sa MMDA, attack, collect, defend, collect.
I have a question. How do you deal with the property rights of the owner or owners of the property?
It's effectively, Mr. Sir, if I may, sometimes it is perceived as already confiscation. Because the private property where they put the installation is considered an improvement on the property.
Yes.
And therefore, when the MMDA closes it without due process, it is tantamount to confiscation. And therefore, while we are not averse to regulation, we certainly will not allow appropriation without due process and adequate
That brings me
compensation.
to my next point. You cannot just take it down. You have to go through due process, di ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
Kasi kung private property yung involved, doon nakatayo yung structure, hindi mo pwedeng basta pasukin yan. No, yung parang ginawa ng si IGG.
Forcible entry nga po kung minsan ang...
Mr. Chairman, if I may just shed some light, especially with the accusations being whenever MMDA enters into a property, before it enters into a property for non-compliant billboard operations, there are due notices, as mentioned by my colleague, Attorney Tison, due notices from DPWH and the local government unit that their billboard is not compliant and has several violations. So by the mere notices to demolish, then we have the authority to enter the property. MMDA has a lot of cases, but we never demolished the structure. The most that we did was roll down the tarpaulin and confiscated, which some of which we even have returned. So there's no violation and there's no complication with legal matters because we follow the law. So due notices have been served and we just follow the request for assistance of the LGUs.
Pag pumunta ka dyan sa... Go ahead. Now, what if they refuse? May you notice that you will enter the property or the premises? Ayaw nila.
If they, in fact, there were cases and pictures have been taken wherein our people were subjected to a gunpoint. So we go. We never entered forcibly.
So, paano?
Because our people do not go inside or knock on doors of operators without any gun. But their guards are there 24 hours with shotguns, etc.
So how do you deal with it?
We file a case, Senator. Just also to shed some light because I think the honorable body is looking for standards.
Yes.
When MMDA was delegated the authority to regulate, we attempted to put standards, especially size and the installation of the billboard. For instance, you see a lot of billboards that are huge, and our concern is safety, especially the ones on the rooftops.
No, especially yung mga poste na nilalagyan, pag humangin yan,
Tama po yan,
tagal-tagal
Mr.
yan.
Chairman. Opo. Especially with the 7.2 magnitude that can happen. So, one of the regulations which is not in the National Building Code that we try to impose, no more billboards on rooftops. Because even how the integrity of the structure is certified, if a 7.2 magnitude earthquake happens, especially the buildings that where these billboards are put are the old buildings, not the new ones, but the old buildings. So they can topple anytime with the 7.2 magnitude. But unfortunately, there are certain LGUs which have their own ordinances. And then the size. That's why not only do we follow, but we advise OAAP, even if there is no signal number 1, if there is an advice from Pag-asa that there's going to be a weather disturbance with gustiness of, strong gustiness, for them to automatically roll down the tarpaulins. Because even if the structure is structurally sound, but if there is a sail, S-A-I-L, which is the tarpaulin, and there's a strong wind, then it can also topple down, even without signal number 1. So that's it. There are 13 documentary requirements that MMDA required. For
Question, anong standard, say, wind resistance? Ano yung standard nyo? How many kPH?
it's now-
And then, earthquake, anong magnitude yung inyong standard? Yung limit. Kasi remember, it just occurred to me now, dahil nung sa aming sinabit na comprehensive rehabilitation plan sa Yolanda, dahil Big Back Better, in-increase namin yung earthquake resistance to 9, yun talaga, intensity 9. And then yung wind resistance, in-increase at 250. So yun, mga pambihira na mangyari yun eh. So, can you not conform to such standards? Para hindi na rin kayo masyadong nag-naabala sa pag-take down ng mga structures, di ba?
Right now, sir, we can only do as what the National Building Code has set. But the earthquakes, sir, wala rin po sa National Building Code yun. So we're following the latest study for Metro Manila, which is from the Billbox, which is the occurrence of a 7.2 magnitude. But of course, we can put it higher. And so it's basically the engineering interventions that we'll have to adjust if that is the set guide.
Sa standard niya, anong wind resistance?
245 at mistaken or 250, sir.
So, there's a standard. Did you supervise that? Yung mga paglagay na mga ganyan? Kasi iba-iba yung mga nakalagay dyan, nakakapit dyan. May malaki, may maliit, may mga...
Actually, precisely, Mr. Chair,
you supervise that?
we support the bill to standardize because that's really what MMDA is trying to do until now, is to standardize size, setback, height, etc. Pag nag-apply, sir, ng billboard sa opisina po namin, we ask them to submit all the documentary, especially the engineering. We inspect the site where they will install the billboard structure, and then look at the plans, and then, because it's also our engineers that do that. But the real building permit that is given is from the local government unit. And as our colleagues from the DPWH said, per law, it's really the local government that does the annual inspection and the issuance of the certificate of use, whether the billboard structure really has structural integrity. The local government also has what we call the land use plan and the zoning ordinance, wherein specific guidelines are set. MMDA follow that, and I think it's uniform across LGUs. That billboard structure should really be installed only along commercial areas, so not along residential areas. And then again, that's basically part of what the building code says. The other thing that we wanted to standardize, which is also not in the National Building Code, which we're trying to do now, is regulate the installation of LED boards. Because we are witness to the different sizes, etc., especially the luminance or the brightness or of the display of the LED boards. Yeah. In our regulation, which the OAAP agreed to, tama sir, yung OAAP, when they crafted some of these new regulations, they were with us, and they agreed into the nits, which is the measure of the luminance for daytime and for nighttime. Unfortunately, as my colleague Attorney Dizon has mentioned,
delikado kasi nakaka-accidente rin yan.
Opo sir, because of our drivers, inuulan po kami ng kaso eh. When we try to implement, and they always say that the MMDA does not have the authority nor the police power to regulate. So yun po yung dilemma ng MMDA when we try to, implement the standards that should be that's ideal for primarily for safety.
Mr. Chairman, while I agree with the concerns of the MMDA, unfortunately, the charter or the rule creating the MMDA does not give it authority to make these regulations and directing local government units to follow the regulations. It is as if it is the tail wagging the dog. What should happen here by law is, and that is the danger of the delegated authority of the DPWH. They cannot delegate authority to a delegated because the charter does not allow them to do so. So if the MMDA is the one that sets the regulations and the standards and directs the local government units, Your Honors, that precisely is violative of the local government code. Precisely, it is the local government code that should set the standards or the regulations to be followed, which brings us to the very problem of different local government units having arbitrary standards, and therefore, again, opening the door to arbitrariness and, if I may say again, corruption. That is, again, a reason why there must be, as the chairman suggested, one regulatory body, headed perhaps by one regulatory body. Maybe we can have the DPWH as the chair, and several others, because you also need public works department. You also need, in terms of content, maybe Department of Public Information and Communication. So if there can be one, as the chairman suggested, one super body to regulate the entire industry instead of an MMDA that will dictate to local government units, and certainly local government units may not want to follow an MMDA that really has no authority to effectively to legislate, because they are only a delegated power. Mr. Chairman.
So you have no objection about for creating a regulatory board to control the billboards, and also when you talk about corruption in MMDA's corruption, maybe some of those, not all of them.
Yes.
Certainly
not. I'm not talking about MMDA, the institution. I'm talking about hindi po yung MMDA, lalong-lalo na yung mga kaharap.
Some of those.
Yung mga tao po.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
I just want to clarify.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the last statement of our colleague, Attorney Kapunan. Mr. Chair, that's precisely also last point on the regulatory body. The MMC, or the Metro Manila Council, which is the governing body of MMDA, passed a resolution in February of this year approving the standards that we have set together with the industry, with the OWAC. And for that set of guidelines to be the template for all the local government ordinances, so that, in fact, that's my reaction actually. We are not dictating to the local government units. In fact, we ask for their support.
May problema po tayo dahil we're only talking Metro Manila. How about Cebu,
Davao,
Sarangani?
Actually, sir, the bill of, Mr. Chairman, the bill of Senator Gatchalian is of national scope, and we support it. In fact, if it's still the same version that was filed in the House of Representatives, then we fully support that. Well, it's really up to the Senate and to the whether to continue providing the powers or regulation with MMDA once the new bill has been passed.
Yes, that's why we're here, because we gather information to legislate in the proper way na win-win solution. Hindi naman maapektuhan yung mga natin.
Kami po, sir, whoever is the regulatory body, MMDA's main objective is public safety. When we receive this delegated authority from DPWH, what primordial goal
Sabi
was...
ni Atty. Kapunan, yung the principle of non-delegability of power. Kaya dapat tatanungin ko sana ano man suggestion ni Atty. Kapunan and anybody for that matter para ma-cure natin yung problema na yun, yung issue na yun. Because hindi tayo compliance sa Constitution. Understand, di ba, Constitutional provision yun yung principle of non-delegability.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, dapat talaga yung power that is delegated, hindi na pwedeng i-delegate.
Yes,
Di
Your
ba ba?
Honor.
Sir, with due respect,
I hope it's included as a feature to sa inyong legislative proposal.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
sir, with due respect, to inform the body, the National Building Code Development Office, which was created through department order, yun po ang technical arm of the secretary. Pinitan 96 kasi, impliedly, yung secretary siya nag-enforce and administer ng Pinitan 96, which is the law. Ngayon, impliedly siya ang building official, kaya under the ceremony, yung mga building officials When the building officials acts in accordance with the National Building Code, they are considered national officers. Although, consider, nasa local sila. Kasi, kinuha nila yung Pinitan 96. That is why, meron Supreme Court decision ng ngayon. Nung po kasi kasagsagan ng mga, yung nga, binay nyo sir, aktibo po ang NBCDO. Nagkaroon lang po kami ng rat plan, medyo nawala po yung ng NBCDO. Pero lahat po yan, kasi po, pati itong monitoring dun sa construction ng building, monitor po rin po ng NBCDO. Nagsasabit po sila sa amin ng mga approved building permits nationwide. Yan po ang nangyayari niya.
Okay, thank you to all the resource persons. Do you have any question?
Marami tayong bills.
Marami pang bills. May tatlo pa. So, that's good.
Position paper na lang.
Position papers na lang na i-ano natin. Paki-submit na lang doon sa committee secretary yung mga ano niyo, suggestion niyo o position niyo. At tapos na tayo sa ano, wala nang katanungan sa 995.
Wala na, Mr. Chairman.
So we will proceed to another item, Senate Bill number 114. But before that, we will suspend the meeting.
Permission to leave, Mr. Chairman.
Yan yung, ano nyo? Substitute.
Wala sa different speaker namin siya.
Wala pa? Iba na yun. Wala yung representative sa road board yan.
Kaya wala request sir na hindi pertinent yung item. Yung dalawa na lang sir. Yung remaining dalawa na lang po.
I-forgo na muna yung road board. Yung district engineering officers. Magastos yan.